Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Season 23 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, presented by Performa Elite. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the commentary booth tonight is Larry Lefty McLeod with John Robertson in the virtual production truck, bringing you all the great camera angles and action that Apex Racing TV is so known for. Erected just north of Milan in 1922, the Autodromo Nazionale Monza was just the world's third purpose-built motor racing circuit after Brooklyn's and, of course, Indianapolis. Known as the Temple of Speed, it features just 6 corner complexes over its 3.6 miles and 11 turns, and it's that speed and a general lack of runoff out of the corners designed to mitigate that speed that presents perhaps the biggest challenge to our Toyota GR86 and MX-5 drivers tonight as they fight it out for 60 minutes here for round number 4. So, good evening, Larry. And, after all the chaos and congestion at that bull ring known as Lime Rock, I think it's maybe time for our drivers and their Japanese steeds to stretch their legs, kind of like Enzo's prancing horses.
Yeah, the track made for high horsepower, like Formula One type cars, and works great for big GT cars. These drivers can have a lot of time in between corners to think and to ponder their next moves, because the straightaways here seem to last forever, which means the draft. It's going to be all about the draft tonight. This place is a ton of fun. I actually love it in low horsepower cars. Yes, I have run a race in V's here. I've done a lot with Miatas here, GR86s here. I do love the way this place races in anything. I think it's just a ton of fun. There's chaos enough at the chicanes. There's relaxation time, but even in the relaxation, there's a draft that's going to be going on that we'll get to have a good view of. We'll see who can make the last pass around Parabolica for the win in our race tonight. This should be a good time.
It should be, Larry. So let's do this. Let's turn things over to Kevin Ford, much as we do every single week here in our different Ricmotech series. He's going to present us with tonight's track guide of Monza.
Welcome, everyone, to the incredible Monza GP circuit located here in Monza, Italy. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this 11-turn, 3.6-mile road course. This place is so much fun to drive, but it is all about getting those exits just right. You know why? A lot of straightaways here at Monza. Let's head up the front straight as we notice our grandstands to the left, our main pit area to the right. As we get further down the straightaway here, you'll notice another set of grandstands off to the right there as we head down towards the very tight chicane of turns 1 and 2. This track actually built over 100 years ago. It has served Formula One well for many, many years, as well as a lot of GT racing. Now heading down into turns 1 and 2, very tight chicane coming through here at the start of races. Well, it's a little daunting. Coming up out of 2, we'll head towards turn 3. This will be a very fast section and a very fast right-hander. This is a sweeper, pretty much pedal to the floor throughout this entire section here as we approach our second chicane, turns 4 and 5. Again, overtaking opportunities heading down into 5 here, but it is a much more narrower section of the course here to get an overtake done into that chicane there. So coming up out of 5, we will head towards turns 6 and 7, known as Lesmo. Coming into turn 6 here, we'll try to get right down to the bottom, use some of that curbing to get some rotation there. We'll head towards turn 7. This is a little tap of the brakes, downshift into 3rd, come right back to throttle on exit, and then up onto the backstretch here at Monza. Again, another slipstream opportunity here, and overtaking will certainly happen as we head up towards the final chicane, if you will. A bit of a tight left-hander with a sweeping right and then back to the left again, known as a Scari. Very fun corner to really race through here at a high rate of speed. Pedal is pretty much wide open through the center of 9 out of 10. And then this will take us down to Parabolica, the final right-hander here at Monza GP. And as you can see, another big overtaking opportunity here with a lot of slipstream heading into this final corner. We'll get down through the gears here. It'll be very, very critical here to get nice rotation, get right back to the bottom, come to throttle, and get a good run up off this exit. This will bring us back out onto the front straightaway here. Things really open up once again, and another great opportunity for drivers to swap positions as they head back down the front straightaway. There you go. There's your track guide for the amazing Monza GP. Thank you for being with us.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of Monza. And so, Larry, as we watched Kevin hustle that GR86 around Monza here, you see and we got some feedback from some of our drivers this week in practice, as you hustle at least the GR86 through some of those chicanes, because of the, I don't want to call it the roly-poly nature, but the way the GR86 transfers weight from side to side. Some of the drivers have encountered some issues with the exits of those chicanes that perhaps it's a bit more challenging than in the flat, and the MX-5s aren't exactly the firmest rides, but a little bit more well balanced, and they do seem to slide a little bit more. That they just don't have the same kind of grip levels in the rubber that seems to negatively affect the GR86s.
Yeah, the MX-5s have a bit of a slide on entry and a slide mid-corner. Like, it always has this slip angle to both ends of the car. So when you turn in, it's got a bit of a softness. It'll absorb any sort of abrupt hand turn that the driver might induce, but it also means the car generally has a bit of a drift on its way in and it's not always like a fixed on rails, so to speak. But the GR86 always is on rails, whether you want it to be or not. That the car darts on entry, and if your hands are fast, if you got those go-kart quick reflex hands, it's a killer in that car, because it'll just tighten the car in, and that's when the back end will just say, okay, I'm done. It'll snap away, or it'll go up in 2 wheels.
Right,
or
exactly.
If you throw that around a sausage curb, you'll just find yourself on your roof very quickly.
Exactly, it just digs in and and over you go. Yeah, and also interestingly enough, in talking to some of the drivers, and not just talking to drivers, but looking at the lap times during the practice sessions that the league runs between races, the lap times were darn near identical between the MX-5s and the GR86s. I think maybe 1 second separating both of them. I think a 2/13, actually not even a full second, a tenth of a second. The Toyota GR86s, the Club Sport cars, were running 2:13.3s for a fast lap. That was set by Eric Violet. And the MX-5s, the street tuner cars, a 2:13.2 was the fast time set by Travis Schwenke, and that was without benefit of draft. That was just with the car all alone.
Yeah, it is interesting how these two cars slightly different in how they make speed, but at the end of the day, they're making the same lap times. It just then becomes, in an hour race, you may not see much mixing of leaders, but I think we will see mixing of leaders of one class to the back markers of the others. And that'll make things interesting because, again, you'll come up with a car that actually in a straight line might be faster, but you got to beat them to the corners. But at least with Monza, you've got that draft I talked about. There'll be plenty of chances to get by. Where we're going to see a lot of chaos tonight, it'll be that turn one chicane. That's where the money's made here at Monza. That's where all the chaos is. If you've watched, the pinnacle of motorsports, as they say, they have all their same problems at that corner too. We are not exempt from it. It should be a very interesting turn one in both our classes tonight.
Yeah, definitely. All right, as our drivers now out for their qualifying session, and as we always do here in the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, we give the drivers 15 minutes, but more importantly, we give them 4 flying laps in order to set their best times and set the grid for tonight's 60-minute race. And we do that by giving them what's known as a lone qualifying session, where they don't have the benefit of the draft here on these long straightaways at Monza. They have to do it all by themselves. And we're on board right now watching Tom Rathke, who's working lap number 2 at the moment, and he is currently, I believe, our fastest driver in the Club Sport Pro class. The Club Sports, pretty obviously, the Toyota GR86s. And let's do this. Let's quickly run down. You see multiple colors on that timing pylon on the left-hand side of your screen. 4 different classes. We've got Pro categories and AM categories for both the Club Sport cars, which are the Toyota GR86s, and the Street Tuner cars, our Mazda MX-5s. If we take a look at the top of the timing pylon for the cars with their positions in red, those are our Street Tuner Pros, the Mazda MX-5s, and we're watching right now Chris Thorman, who is, after one flying lap, your provisional pole sitter in Street Tuner Pro. You notice that they've got the red mirrors on their Mazdas to correspond with the red positioning on our timing pylon on the left-hand side of the screen. If we then move over to one of our Club Sport Pro cars, we had Tom Rathke on the shot there a few moments ago, but now we're going to move over to Scott Banks, who's currently our second fastest Club Sport Pro driver, driving the number 7 GR86. You'll notice that he's got black mirrors on the car, which correspond with the black positioning there on the timing pylon. Again, those are the Pro category drivers in Club Sport in the Toyotas that have the black mirrors, much like Kevin Ford, who wow, and there there you go. That's what happens when you hit the curbing wrong in the GR86s. That's Kevin Ford, who just gave us our track guide a few moments ago, and he's currently our fastest driver in Pro, but wow, almost ended up on his roof there.
As Freddie Mercury says, bicycle, I want to ride my bike, because that's what Kevin Ford just did.
He also said something about fat bottom girls. But anyway, let's look over at our AM categories now. Let's move over to Street Tuner AM. Those are the Mazda MX-5s. And much like Ray Lombardi right now, he's the fastest of our AM category drivers in Street Tuner. And Ray there with the bright green mirrors on the doors. And you can see that on the timing pylon on the side there. Lombardi, Cranston, Labano, etc., all in our AM category. And then in Club Sport AM, our GR86s, although the timing pylon shows them in yellow, the Club Sport cars, they've got the orange mirrors on the doors there. So just think, if you're not exactly colorblind, it's yellow or orange or something along those lines, maybe chartreuse, I don't know. But those are our 4 classes. And currently in Street Tuner Pro, the Mazda MX-5, Travis Schwenke now going to the top of the leaderboard in his Orion racing machine. Paulo Cui Grant from D2D eRacing, second fastest with Chris Thorman, third, David Payton fourth, and Mr. Copland now, Ken Copland, driver of the number 15 machine, he is sitting in 5th in the Club Sport Pro class, and those are our GR86s. Kevin Ford, as we said, a 2:13.818. And so right now, about 0.4 of a second is the split between the MX-5s and the GR86s. Then we've got Scott Banks, Tom Rathke, third fastest, and then behind Rathke, Bobby Childs, Edgar Sancinelli running 5th and 6th. And it's interesting, Larry, as we watch that timing pylon as the Club Sport Pro and the Street Tuner Pro classes, as they kind of switch back and forth between fast laps there. It's very, very close. Matter of fact, if you look at it right now in Club Sport Pro, Kevin Ford with that 2:13.358, less than 0.05 of a second faster than our Street Tuner Pro leader. Then if we move over to the orange mirrored cars, the Club Sport AMs, the GR86s, it is currently Joey Rutledge, your fastest driver, by a big margin there. He's got a 2:14.02. Next fastest driver, Tom Jenkins, at a 2:14.44. It's almost 0.4 of a second separating our first and second fastest drivers in Club Sport AM. Third fastest, Russ Ruddick, with a time of 2:14.64. And if we then move over to our Street Tuner AM category, the Mazda MX-5s, it's Ray Lombardi, who we checked in with earlier in the 84 machine at 2:14.55 at the time. Jeff Cranston, only about 0.03 of a second off of his time. The 97 car running at 2:14.58 for a fast lap. Chuck Lobano, third fastest. Patrick Provenis, fourth fastest. And so, Larry, as we've got still about 5 minutes here left in qualifying, and although a good portion of our drivers are on their fourth flying lap, so let's quickly take a look at the point standings here across our different classes. Now that we have 3 rounds complete, we ran 2 rounds with 2 30-minute races at Lime Rock just a couple weeks ago. And in Club Sport AM, the GR86s, your current points leader with 76 points is Tom Jenkins. Brad Husty, though, only a single point back from there with 75, and Joey Rutledge not all that far behind with 70 points. And you can see it's once you get past Mr. Rutledge, it is very, very close between May and Ruddick and Ladd. All those drivers really bunched up there, right in the low 60s and mid 50s. If we jump over to the MX-5s and the Street Tuner AM category, Ray Lombardi, currently your points leader, and he has 84 points with 67 to Steve Daniel, so 17 points separating those two drivers. But Eduardo Lorente currently only a single point back from Steve Daniel, and not all that far back, only 7 more points back to Chuck Lobano and another 5 back to Jeffrey Cranston. So real tight running here in MX-5's AM category after just 3 rounds. Now let's move over to the pros, and we're going to start off with Club Sport Pro, the GR86s, where Eric Violette currently your points leader with 109, and then we've got a tie for second place, Tom Rathke and Scott Banks, and only 15 points back from there. Currently in fourth is Jeff Jacobs from the SCCA Foundation, Edgar Sancinelli from Frito Sport, who we're going to probably be talking to in just a few moments, hopefully before we get underway. He is currently sitting in fifth. And then finally, if we take a look at Street Tuner Pro, Mike Dam, currently your points leader from Orion Racing. He's got 105 points, 11 points up on D2D E-Racing's Palakui Grant. Then we've got Ken Copeland third with 89 points, only 5 back from Grant. And then we've got Greg Mack, fourth in the point standings with 78 and tied for fourth with David Payton. So again, real tight running here as we take a look at the points now in Street Tuner Pro. There we go.
All right, so if we want to, we can bring in Edgar quickly here before the end of qualifying, get a few words with him.
We can definitely do that. So let's bring in Edgar Sancinelli, driver of the number 57 Frito Sport Racing Club Sport Pro Toyota GR86.
All right, Edgar, tonight we've got our GR86s here at Monza. How you liking the flavor of this combo so far?
Well, I think it's going to be exciting for sure. You know, you have two classes that the times are very similar, so it's going to take a lot of work from everyone to get through it cleanly, I think.
Yeah, I think for sure we got a decent sized field here tonight, and I think a pretty good split between the two different makes. This will make for a fun race. This place always drafts well, it races well. Should be a lot of fun. But I want to ask you a little bit about the Frito Sport team. You guys seem to be growing a little bit lately. What's in store for Frito Sport and how things over there?
We're always been known for a fairly small team. We just come into this really to have fun, and if we can learn along the way, that's a plus. So we just hope to be able to support each other and grow. And sometimes we don't want to grow too fast, too big. We like to keep this kind of like a family atmosphere, and that really hopefully will lead to bigger and better things, but at a good pace for everyone.
Yeah, and this is a great league as well with Ricmotech, of course, for you guys jumping into and participating in. Really a great place for that kind of a team that just wants to have a good time and and grow along with that pace. But here at Monza, kind of as we reach sort of the first third or halfway through the season here, how do you think the team's been set up so far and the performance so far through this part of the season?
Like I said, we try to support each other, be it with setups or working together in practice, and then also during the race, we try to keep each other going. But looking forward through the season, I think it's just going to be a matter of doing the best we can, pick up points where we can. We're not always the fastest, so we pick up bonus points. We try to drive clean and make it to practices so that we really know where our pace is.
Yeah, well, awesome. Good luck tonight to the whole team there at Frito Sport. Good luck to you as well. With any luck, maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you later tonight. So we get to go grid on up. Enjoy the race.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all you do for us. Take care.
Thanks, Edgar.
All right, there you go. Edgar Sanchinelli from Frito Sport Racing. Let's let him go. There you go. And Larry, just in time for the starting grid as we have our drivers heading down onto the straight here. They're going to take their pace lap, and we're going to be going to racing for 60 minutes. Let's take a look. If we start off with Street Tuner Pro, and we're going to be gridding the drivers up. Looks like the Mazda MX-5s, the Street Tuners first, and then it will be the Club Sport Racers after that. And so Mike Dam is your pole sitter with Travis Schwenke, his teammate from Orion Racing, starting right next to him. Then we've got Palakui Grant from D2D and his teammate Chris Thorman starting right beside him. They'll make up row number 2. Then we've got Eugenio Pulici. He is starting 5th in the number 27 car at, it may not be his home track, but certainly his home country, and qualifying quite well with Brennan Horn from D2D Racing starting in 6th. David Payton will start 7th with Ken Copland starting in 8th. Jordy Fight from Team Esport Racers is going to be starting right next to his teammate Greg Mack there on row number 5, and Robert Hartley from Orion Racing starting at the tail end of that pro field.
All right, in the Club Sport AM, and again, I think some of these drivers are mixed in with the Club Sport Pros, but the fastest of them was Robert Schwenkler from the Wrong Stuff Racing, did that 2:13.4, and I think he's actually going to be starting. Oh, we'll figure that out in a few minutes. This is the Club Sport Pro, but on the outside of that front row, it's going to be Tom Jenkins from Midfield Motorsports, and that'll be the front row. The second row is going to be Joy Rutledge from the Wrong Stuff, lined up with Russ Ruddick from Flying Toters Motorsport. And I think we're doing a little bit of shuffling there on the grid down on the track. We'll let the stewards figure that out there. On the third row, you can see a couple of drivers you can see there on the shot getting shuffled around a little bit so they can get the right order. On the third row, though, it's going to be Dragon Sport Racing's Leo Dragota on the inside. The outside is going to be Paul Carey in Carey Racing. In the fourth row, Mike Taylor, one of our Frito Sport drivers. He'll be on the inside next to Rodney Carey from Carey Racing. On the fifth row, John Casey, another Frito Sport driver, lined up behind his teammate there on that fifth row. But he'll be alongside Stephen May from May Force Racing.
All right, if we move on now to Street Tuner AM for our Mazda MX-5s, it's Ray Lombardi, your pole sitter from Team Esport Racing, with Jeff Cranston starting 2nd, Chuck Labano starting in 3rd, with Patrick Provenis in 4th.
All right. Go ahead.
So there is the field there, and we've got, as you see now, our GR86s all gridded up. They are back behind the, They have flip-flopped. Remember, you had said, because it looked like that it was going to be the MX-5s first. Nope, this series, we do the GR86s first. iRacing defaults to whoever was quicker on actual time. So in this case, we flipped them, and no harm, no foul, off we go. That's right, and the pace car long gone as the GR86 pole sitter. Now Eric Violette brings the field through Parabolica, through that sweeping right-hand corner onto the front straight, waiting for our real-life starter to give the green flag. As they come to the line, Kevin Ford dropping back just a little bit there. And there we go. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here from Monza as this GR86 is trying to get up to speed now and make the run down towards the very first chicane. And we can see now already 3 wide, Larry.
Yeah, Kevin Ford, tough start there in that front row. He's all the way back into about 6th right now, as he might have found himself in the wrong gear. And now contact going into braking between Ford and one of the wrong stuff drivers there on his right. They're going to go 2 wide now through the opening chicane. Kevin may have to issue himself some points for that kind of stuff.
That's right. Might give himself a drive-through. I think that was Joey Rutledge, and we've got a driver that's gone around. I think that was Edgar Sancinelli.
No.
And our MX-5s now, they come to the line, Larry. They're going to get the green. We've got the 2 Orion Racing teammates on the front row as they now make the run. And, you know, it just seems like they don't accelerate, which I don't think they do. Here, as they make the run down, as we see Palakui Grant from D2D showing the nose. He's drivers right there. He's going to try and follow Mike Dam through as they come out of the very first chicane. It looks like all of our MX-5 drivers have made it as they now make the run down towards the out of the Curva Biasinato into the second chicane here in just a moment. And it is such a long run. Look at these 2 Orion Racing teammates, and then you've got Palakui Grant just kind of pinned right in there.
Yeah, Palakui was trying to push a little bit behind Mike Dam, but Dam being the patient one there, making sure that the teammates ended up out in front. Grant still trying to get in to separate those 2, not having much luck. But you will notice, we didn't mention it much during the grid, but one of the Orion drivers not near the front of the field, that's Rob Hartley, starting this race, one of the last rows. You can see him in the back of the shot, getting a little loose back there. He's going to have to fight through traffic. At the front, though, we get the 2 Orions and the 3 D2Ds all sort of mixed together.
Yeah, and there you can see there Robert Hartley now sitting currently 10th in Street Tuner Pro, trying to make his way up through the field as the racers, they come through the two Lesmos, and they are now making their way through through Variante Ascari. But we've got our GR86s, the Club Sport cars. They've already made their way through the Parabolica onto the front straight, and Eric Violette now with a 5-car length advantage over Robert Schwenkler from the wrong stuff. Then another 3 car lengths back to Tom Jenkins, Scotty Banks, Bobby Childs as well. And then a big group of drivers. We've got Leo Dragata, we've got Joey Rutledge, we've got Russ Ruddick as well, as they're all coming down under braking going into the first chicane.
Yeah, Rafke there trying to be ahead of that pack going under braking into the first chicane, and manages to just hold on to it as Rutledge not able to maintain pace with that front 2 of Rafke and Leo Dragota. Those 2 make it a bit of an escape, but that's the way this place is. Now as you pick up the Miata this pack going on here in the MX-5s, it is Schwenke ahead of Grant, and then you've got Mike Dam, Brennan Horan, and then I think that's the 60 back there, Chris Thorman being 5th.
Thorman, and then it's the hometown talent. It's Eugenio Pulici.
Dave Payton trying to get around a couple of our eSport Racers drivers. Not any success on that one, but he's got right behind him a Rob Hartley. So he's got to keep hustling if he wants to hold off a Hartley behind him. And there is Hartley now up alongside the 15 of Copeland.
All right, and Larry, just got word from Race Control. Bobby Childs, driver of the number 88 machine, the 88 Club Sport Pro car, just received a drive-through penalty for a start violation, popping out and picking up a position before the start-finish line. So early pain there for Bobby Childs.
Bobby, don't blame the commentators. This is not a blame the messenger situation.
Just tell them I called the start after they called green. Remember that.
That's true.
So,
all right.
I mean, Larry, it's amazing watching the MX-5s, and maybe even more so than the GR86s right now, how, and we see this in real life with MX-5 and Miata racing as well, how, you know, having a 2 or even a 2.5 car length advantage doesn't mean much, especially here at a place like Monza, where with these very long straightaways, it's not hard to draft right back up to the car ahead of you. The challenge is going to be is where do you go, and when do you pop out to try and make the pass? As Bobby Childs making that drive-through penalty right now, that's going to drop him down through the order, likely drop him to at least 5th position in pro.
Yeah, you're talking about how the Miatas, the MX-5s tend to stay in the train a little bit longer. So we got 3 wide going into 1 with Rafke there, as well as the trying to pick out who that is. You got Joey Rutledge.
I think that's Rutledge and Leo Dragata, or is that Russ? Yeah, Leo Dragata and Russ Ruddick. He's only a couple car lengths back there in that green and white machine.
Yeah, they're all fighting together. But the MX-5s, I think, tend to draft a little bit better for a couple of reasons. I think that that going back to that softness of turn in and the more gentle nature of this car, it's a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but in a way it kind of is easier, and certainly easier to drive close. The GR86s have that bit of like a sharp turn in, almost like a tippy nature to them, make them a lot harder to drive side by side with somebody. They tend to create bigger gaps from what I've seen. And so right now in this train, this MX-5 absolute train right now, just heading down between the first 2 chicanes, it is just, you just can't get away. Now Mike Dam, remember, this was Schwenke at the point here just a lap or so ago. Now it's Mike Dam ahead of Grant, Horan, and then Schwenke now just ahead of Thorman for 4th and 5th.
And you saw how much Thorman made up there just in the run down to the chicane, as they've actually opened up the smallest of advantages right now over Travis Schwenke in that green and white number 16 machine, currently sitting in 4th, and then a little bit further back, Chris Thorman driving the number 60 D2D eRacing MX-5. So Larry, here's a question for you, and I unfortunately don't know the answer to this one. Knowing that some more of our GR86 drivers tonight have trimmed out that rear wing to try and get as much speed as possible on these long straightaways. Hey, very much Formula One. Oh, and we've got a big wreck here on the run down to the 2nd chicane, and wow, we get more cars taken out. Looks like Chuck Labano.
Hartley, David Payton, and yeah, I think that's Jordy Fike right there.
Yeah, we see Jeff Cranston was off as well. Wow. And looks like Robert Hartley was involved, Jordy Fike involved.
You can kind of see that happening as they were still running 3 wide down that straight onto the bridge as they were coming up to that big chicane there. And you could just tell they were kind of running out of real estate. Hartley had nowhere to go. Be interested to see what the stewards have to say about that one. But unfortunately, it looks like all 3 of those guys might be ending their night early. Yeah,
that is unfortunate for them. As we know, we've got Fike and Hartley in the pits right now. And Peyton looks as though he may have continued, but he's definitely further back in the pack as we watch the fight right now for the lead in Club Sport Pro with Brennan Horn, with Palakui Grant and Mike Dam. Grant and Dam side by side coming through the chicane there. Brennan Horn now taking almost a 4-car length advantage, as of course the 2 cars behind just did not get good runs out of the Ascari chicane, and as they come and make their way now down to that long sweep. Actually, that wasn't the Ascari chicane, that was the first chicane, coming down now into the 2nd chicane, but that 45 machine moving out to a good advantage here. And you can see, Larry, what the effect is when you have 2 cars side by side going through one of the chicanes.
Yeah, it definitely slows down that pack and lets somebody possibly escape. But these being Miatas, no one's really getting away at all right now. It just sort of slowed everybody down. I did notice, if you look at those 2 D2Ds at the front of the field right now between Grant and Brennan Horn, their cars aren't nearly as clean on the nose as they were when the green flag dropped 4 laps ago. I'm thinking that they may have done a little bit of pushing already in this field, but that's the nature of this beast. When you're in this train, you get a little bit of bumping. It actually looks like it's showing up now on the nose of those MX-5s.
All right, and it looks like Paul Carey getting a time penalty post-race. The 141 Toyota being assigned responsibility for that large GR86 wreck that we had just seen. And I'm wondering, Director John, if we could possibly go back and see that incident, and perhaps what brought it on is we've got the 118 machine now of Leo Dragata in the pits.
Oh, that's interesting for Dragata to come in this early. I'm not sure. Maybe he's thinking he can get an early pit stop in and be done for the night. But you've got already the front of the MX-5 catching up to some of the back markers there. That is the 33 of Rodney Carey in that GR86, moving over, letting that front train of MX-5 come on through.
And there you go, Larry. There's where you get the little bump draft. Yep. And as we've got Grant pushing Brennan Horn along as he's now side by side as Mike Dam had pulled right alongside Brennan Horn going into the first chicane.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, that bump drafting is unavoidable because of the long straightaways here at Monza. You have no choice. Either you're going to get bull rushed or you just bump into the person in front of you and push. There it is. Even between D2D to Mike Dam in the Orion car, they're pushing each other because there's nowhere else to go. What are you going to do? Sit there and lift? The guy behind will just run into you and push you along.
Just like that right there, going into the second chicane,
And you and I may have called a couple of Spec Miata races just this past weekend. We see the exact same thing happening at any track with a straightaway with these trains of 2, 3, and 4 cars. All right, here's the replay. Look at the car on the left drifting over and getting into, I think the car on the left was Jordy Fike, in fact, getting into the David Payton, who then got all the way over into Hartley. I'm wondering if the steward's going to take a look at that and see if Jordy Fike might be deserving of something.
Yeah, that was definitely unfortunate there, and you know, we saw the 3 cars involved right there at the first part. You know, but as more cars were bouncing off of the Armco there, it ended up affecting, I think, 3 more cars after the fact. As we jump back to this battle for the lead, where Mike Dam has retaken the lead in Street Tuner Pro.
I really wish I was behind the wheel in this pack right now. This just looks like an absolute blast. You've got 5, 6, 7 cars deep. There's the top 6 right there with the 27 of Eugene Policho right there at the back. Oh, a little bit of that bump came a little harsh there from Brennan to Mike Dam before he got to the brakes to go through Parabolica. But that's the way this race is going. This looks like so much fun. You can't imagine how great it is to be mirrors all around, looking at everybody and everything, feeling a bump from behind, pushing a bump in front of you. Are you going to take the position or not? This to me is what racing's all about.
Yeah, and obviously, Larry, as we were watching this, as Dan was getting into the brakes with Horn right on the bumper, you know, in real life, the driver's going to put his hand in the air, going to give the little wave to tell him to back off. You don't have that here unless,
well, you get to push the talk button. You just hit your little talk and say, hey, push me, or hey, don't push me, as Mike Dam might be saying. Hey, Brandon, a little gentler next time, if you would, please.
All right, let's jump back over to our Club Sport and the Toyotas right now, where Eric Violette now has opened up over a 1.5 seconds over Robert Schwenkler from the Wrong Stuff, and then Scotty Banks in that number 7 machine, just a touch further back from there. Banks running for Team Volta. And at the moment, those 3 cars have really started to separate themselves out from the field. Tom Jenkins, who is running 2nd in the AM category to Schwenkler, finds himself about 4 seconds behind these lead 3. And here we go. Here's a neat little fight as Kevin Ford, who had qualified right up towards the top of the pro field, started on the 2nd row, or probably started on the 1st row, currently running in 4th. And he's got he's got directly behind him John Casey in that light blue, directly ahead of him Mike Taylor. And this is the battle. Well, Taylor is running 4th in AM.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Bobby.
Not much left of Bobby's car there going through that opening chicane. Or that's the 2nd chicane, actually, there.
Yeah.
That is not much left of the car. He has retired right now. At least he's in the pits for the last 2.5 minutes. It's a rough go there for...
So what Italian song do you think he's singing right now, Larry?
something probably a sad opera, if I had to guess.
Yes. Oh, Bobby.
By the way, we're calling them the 2nd chicane, 3rd chicane. Of course, these corners have names. We know the first one is the Rettifilo, the opening chicane there, and then the 2nd chicane is the Variante della Roggia. And then, of course, you've got the Variante Ascari, which is the one as they come up the hill and make the left there, named after Alberto Ascari, of course. So beautiful names here at Monza of all the corners. And yes, there will be a quiz after the show.
Yes, there will. All right, and now next D2D racer up, or D2D racer up in line, and that is Palakui Grant, who now assumes the lead from Mike Dam. But these three drivers, it appears as though, I'm sure that the two D2D racers would like to be able to separate Mike Dam out from Travis Schwenke and really make it just a three-car battle there. But not able to do it. You know, and again, that's the strength of the draft here on these long straightaways. And then you have Eugenio Pulici just I think right at the tail end of the draft with these cars right now.
Yeah, so we're working lap 7 of this race. And I don't know if it's been official, but I know I have seen 4 different cars at the front of this train in 7 laps. I don't know if they've all cross-start finished with getting credit for a lap led, but they've all at least been down one of these straightaways ahead of this pack, and that's amazing. That just shows you how MX-5s race on a track as grand and massive as Monza. Maybe we should have run the full classic Monza with the bank turn that they're going underneath right now. It's in iRacing. If you haven't tried it, go ahead and fire up a session. My personal favorite is the DW12 old Indy car around the giant Monza track. It barely hangs on for dear life around the bumpy banking. And then you go through the chicanes. They're not really chicanes anymore. It's an amazing ride. You can also do something like Lotus 49, which is probably more realistic to the era of tracks. But if you can make Lotus 49 on a single flyer without hitting the wall, then more power to you, because I can't.
Because you can't do it.
You were talking about Pulici. He's making his way through. Just got around Travis Schwenke for 4th spot. So Pulici, maybe he'll get a crack at leading a lap around here, around his quote-unquote home track. If Mike Dam's home track can be Canadian Motor CTMP, then I guess Pulici can have a home track here in Monza. Yeah, just look at him pushing him along. It's so hard to stay synced up. You can see him bouncing around. It is not easy. Oh boy, here comes Schwenke. Able to get it under control, but for a minute there, I think he didn't expect the field to break as early. When you're 5th or 6th in line, you better break early. Don't break when you think you have to break.
Are you going to send them all?
If you break at the 2 going into turn 1, normally break at the 3 when you're the 5th or 6th car in that train.
Yeah, and you saw there where Horn got out of the throttle to in order to get off of Dam's bumper to go into the chicane, and all of a sudden then we had Palakui Grant go slam right into the back of the 45 machine. As we jump back over to the GR86s, and this is Scotty Banks, who is currently running 2nd in Pro, and Schwenkler, who is our current leader in Club Sport AM.
And we've seen this before. We saw this at Suzuka in the opening round, where these guys in different classes basically hooked up and were running together for a while, chasing Eric Violette. So it's kind of a bit of a repeat of what we had seen about 6 weeks ago. But it just shows the pace that Schwenkler's got there in the AM category. He can run with the quickest of them. And Banks, maybe he doesn't mind having the partner. Maybe if they could really work together, maybe they could just leapfrogging or pretend they're Miatas and start pushing each other.
Exactly, and start pushing down the front straight there.
Yeah. A little tougher in the GR, but still possible. You can see he's getting a draft. Is Schwenkler. He's kind of poking out really just for visibility. He's not trying to make a pass. He just wants to see what's ahead of him. And sometimes the best way to do that is just pop out of the draft and say, oh, yeah, now I can tell where the track goes. They're about 3.5 seconds behind your leader in GR86 and in the pro class, of course, is Eric Violette.
All right, a little further back, this is Tom Rathke, who is currently running 3rd in pro, and Joey Rutledge, who's running 3rd in AM, also appear to be working in very close proximity here. They are about 4 seconds in arrears of that battle that we were watching just a few moments ago.
This is not a replay. This is not the same white car and the same Wrong Stuff Racing livery. These are, in fact, 2 different cars in the same order. Yes, one of them in AM and one of them in Pro. Thanks, guys. Well coordinated tonight.
I would say very well coordinated, and it's like deja vu all over again. All right, coming down,
Thanks,
coming down into the first chicane there. Nice move. That was, let's see, making the move. I think that was Jeff Cranston making the move on Greg Mack. Those two drivers, I believe, were caught up in that early incident that we had seen.
Well, Greg Mack has definitely been caught up in some kind of incident. As that car, the left side is beautiful, the right side's a little bruised
not
up.
So much. Well, I know Cranston had been some of the collateral damage in that earlier incident. So looks like both of these drivers trying to make their way back up through the field, as Greg Mack currently running 8th in Street Tuner Pro, and Cranston, though, still 3rd in Street Tuner Am.
All right, back to the battle of Rafke and I believe Rutledge. They come into the Parabolica, curve Parabolica. Really great to watch different lines around this corner.
Yes.
You watch the the pinnacle of motorsport Formula One, and they tend to kind of dive into that apex and then ride the outside all the way around and then cross track as they get to the front straight. Some of these lower horsepower cars, it almost becomes a just minimum distance, just get around this thing, because you're probably going to hit peak, peak speed somewhere around start finish anyway. You may as well just get there as short as distance as possible.
Just amazing to watch, Larry, as we talk about how softly sprung and how softly damped these cars are, that the Toyotas, when the drivers get onto the brakes and just watch the nose plow into the pavement there, and you just don't see the same type of behavior with the Miatas. And here, we'll get a chance in just a moment to see what the behavior is, as we're now 3 wide coming down into the first chicane. We've got Mike Dam to the inside. We've got Paulo Grant.
Yeah, somebody's off to the gravel trap here in one. You can see the dust still in the air.
And it looks like that driver is filtered through, but that is likely going to create some problems for these drivers as they come up to the second chicane. Let's see who it was.
All right, well, there's Nick Parson. Oh, we got the replay going here as Nick in his JR86 comes into one. I have a feeling he's involved in the incident. Turns in late, misses the apex. That's a sausage curve. Oh, that's a tough spot to be sitting.
That's a bad place to be, yeah.
He gets out of there, though. I'm impressed. He gets going
right ahead.
with no contact.
and got clear of it just ahead of the MX-5s.
Had a bit of a Code Brown moment for him, but now he's got the entire train of the front 5. Right behind. Front 6 now, actually, the MX-5s right behind him. He's going to... I don't know if he's going to move out of the way, because he's got decent pace. We know that car, if anything, might have good straight line speed. Let's see if he ends up just pulling out of the way as they get here to the... Seraglio, that's what it is. This back straight. I'm trying to sound Italian. Is it working?
Gesundheit.
Is my New Jersey / Michigan accent ruining my Italian?
just a touch.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, he's trying to just
they canceled
slowly.
The Sopranos just a few years too early for it.
That's a very different accent. There's not much Italian in the Sopranos except the names.
Yeah.
But so he's trying to get on through here with the least amount of disruption. The front 3 was able to get by Nick at this point. He's just sort of sandwiched between Brennan Horn, and I think he's got Polici right behind him.
Yes.
Yep.
And look at the run here as Grant is pulling Horn around, and as you said, going all the way around the outside. Mike Dam, and looked for a moment there as if that was the path to take, but you're running such a greater distance.
Mike's about to get a push from a GR86, and Nick Parson, I think he's going to try. But you can see the inside definitely getting the push of those two teammates. Dam has got nowhere to go but to back out of this, and Polici might find himself in there. Nope, not quite. As Mike Dam, little contacts, but I think he's okay. Brennan able to hang on to it there, but that's tight quarters going through that chicane.
And that has given Grant now about a 5-car length advantage over his teammate Brennan Horn.
Nah, that won't last long.
No, not at all.
Sorry, Palikui, if you're listening in live, sorry to be such a doubter, but we've watched our share of MX-5s, and I'm sure you're not going to run from this pack. You can run, but you can't hide.
So all of our drivers that are on the lead lap, and that's the majority of the field, they're currently working lap number 11. Larry, we'll have to see. We're getting to that point where the pit window is going to start opening up for these drivers that, at least in testing, the MX-5 drivers were able to get somewhere along the lines, the majority of the MX-5 drivers were able to get somewhere around 18 laps out of a full tank of fuel and about 17 laps for the Toyota drivers. So we're getting near the starts of the pit windows here. The pit window should open up right around lap 11 for the MX-5s and around lap 12 for the Toyotas.
Makes you wonder if we had seen earlier Leo Jagoda coming in early in his GR86, if perhaps he forgot to fill up the tank after qualifying. Yeah, just wonder there. All right, well, half a lap ago, he said Grant had a big car, multi-car length lead over Brennan Horn, Mike Dam, and the others. But with that GR86 sandwiched in between, I don't think that's really going to be lasting too long, as I'm trying to see who that is. Stephen May, I think, is that 86 right there in between them. But as they come off Parabolica, those MX-5s really slide beautifully into this corner, but that GR86 has got some power, so he's going to stay there for a little bit. Maybe he does voluntarily back out of this, but he knows he's got position behind him. He doesn't want to give up, and I think that's Nick Parsono. So those two trying to be strategic about letting these MX-5s without giving up their own pace.
Yeah, and what the MX-5s are going to have to do is I was going to say they're going to have to move to the inside, but we just saw. And I think you're right. I think that is, who did we say that was? Was that Stephen May in the
Stephen May? Yeah.
Yeah, and he just made that little move to the inside, which I'm sure freaked out 3 of our MX-5 drivers.
Just a little bit.
And now, Larry, as we were looking at that the fight a little earlier, then here you go with Rathke, Rutledge, and let's see, and is that
that's Schwenkler's a little bit slow. He's off to the right now.
Yeah,
and he's sitting in second in this class, right behind Jenkins, who's right out in front of him there. But you can see the damage he's carrying now on the right front of that car. So I'm not sure what happened. I think we're about to catch a replay of that as you see him right now coming around. Let's see, perhaps there's some contact going into the second chicane. Oh, it's the classic GR86 where it just tips and turns in harsh. That's in the second chicane. He's lucky to get going again, but lost a lot of ground and had to give up that lead.
Yeah, almost looks like a BMW M4 Club GT4 car.
We may have seen that last weekend. Yeah.
Oh, and running wide out of the chicane.
It's his teammate Rutledge.
Rutledge, yeah.
Robert's going to come in now, get his pit stop, thinking his pit window's probably open. Maybe he'll even take just a little bit of repairs if he thinks his straight line speed is being hampered by that damage.
All right, so one of our first drivers now in the Toyotas to come down the pit lane for their pit stops as it is Palakui Grant and Brennan Horn, your 2 leaders, with Dam and Polici very close behind and starting to stretch things out. You know, it looked earlier, even before Polici had made the pass on Schwenke, Larry, that when Schwenke had been sitting in fourth position, he was having a bit of a challenge, at least in a straight line, keeping the pace of the 3 cars ahead of him. And it looks like now, as you can see, he has fallen, he's under the draft, has fallen into the midst here of I think that's Chris Thorman.
It is Chris
just
Thorman.
Got around him, yeah.
Yes, I'm not sure what's going on right now with Schwenke. Like I said, at one point in the opening laps, he actually led this race, struggling here a little bit with this traffic, or perhaps there's something up with his car. We'll see if he's able to pick his pace back up. Maybe he's trying to do a fuel save deal and just hang back and save as much as he can. That kind of strategy could pay off in these really tight races tonight. We do know those Orion guys are pretty good sipping fuel. Now, this is Tom Jenkins, and I think that's Rutledge on his it's not Rutledge. That is Banks?
I was going to say, I think that's...
Let's see.
I thought, wasn't that Rathke and Banks?
That's the 41 of Rathke, yes. And the 68 of Jenkins. Yeah. Different classes. I had to figure that out, which classes these are. Orange mirrors, of course. 4-1, black on the other. Tight little battle going on between these two, even though they are in different classes. And though a race is still a race, no matter what class they're ultimately scored in. We saw a lot of that in real life even last week, where two different cars, sometimes very, very different cars, open wheels and closed wheels, if the pace is the same, they'll race. Same thing here. We know these cars are identical. Who cares which stickers on the side of the car or which end plates and all that stuff? These guys are still racing. And here goes, as it looks like Jenkins maybe thinking of making a move. No, he's going to stay in line with Rathke here.
You know, Larry, and also there's the other piece of this. Depending on what software these drivers may be using or not using, all they know is they've got another Toyota in front of them. They don't necessarily correlate between who is in Pro or who is in AM from the cockpit.
Yeah, that's true, because on the within iRacing, your relative screen will tell you the difference, obviously, between an MX-5 and a GR86. It will dictate the classes by color there. It doesn't, however, dictate between Pro and AM. So you would have to know. I do suspect, considering the experience, especially someone like Rathke has, that he's going to know which cars around him are in his class.
Who else is in his class, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's also part of the reason why they do the mirrors and the windshield banners and the wing end plates, all that for different colors. It gives the drivers, as much as the viewers, but it gives the drivers an opportunity to distinguish who is their direct competitor and maybe who's somebody from another class. Whether he's recognized that himself, only Tom knows, but he's at least got the opportunity.
All right, we're on board, or not on board, but we're watching Ray Lombardi. He is your Street Tuner AM category leader right now. The two drivers back behind him in the Mazdas, and it's a little ways back till you get them. It's Chuck Labano running second. He's got the two Toyotas between he and the leader Lombardi, and then running third in the class is Jeffrey Cranston, who was again making a pretty good recovery run here, but he's got Leo Dragata in his Toyota, the 118 car, that'll have to get around in order to engage in that fight.
How quickly that does happen. Lombardi having a pretty good run here so far. Go back to our point standings, of course. Lombardi has won the AM category here in ST all three rounds so far. The opening round at Suzuka and the double round there at Lime Rock, both sides of it. So Ray having a pretty good start. Here he is with a good 20-second lead in this race so far, as we've just gotten past the halfway point.
And I think coming down the pit lane, there you go, Larry. Mike Dam going to head to the pit lane, as is his teammate Travis Schwenke.
Interesting. We've seen the history of these Orion cars. These two in particular is very late pit stoppers, whether it's in our World Challenge or whether it's in our in the other fields we run. But here in the Miatas, they've been that way. But tonight, this is coming in early, and I wonder if they're thinking they can come in, coordinate this, come back out and work together and avoid the D2D guys that they're fighting with. So this will be interesting. Now, it does leave the front now with those three D2Ds, with the one car there, Polici, as the third in this train. These four now have to figure this out without the Orion cars for at least a lap, maybe longer. Let's see what happens when they all end up doing their pits. How close are they? Is there a way to separate if maybe just two work together?
Yeah, so we'll see here as our leaders come in behind. Oh, and running wide there. I think that was that Mike Taylor, I think.
Perhaps.
It's one Toyota of our that ran wide. And I was just going to say, if they follow Taylor there, who's a little bit off of their pacing, that could certainly slow that whole train down. And when a Dam and a Schwenke perhaps come out into some clean air and can work the draft together, might be able to make up that ground.
Oh, that's Rathke. We're just watching him. Oh, boy. That's a precarious position. He's just trying to just get to the gravel trap on the other side of the chicane there. I think that's the Ascari chicane, if I got that right. Fast entry. He might have rubbed the wall a little bit, but lucky for him, able to get going again. Lucky for everyone else, they didn't come up on him. Let's check his replay as he does. Yeah, that's the Ascari chicane there. As he's coming through, and look at it. Hooks, sausage curb, back end goes, and no contact. Boy, did he get lucky. Who was the midfield driver that just came through? That's the lucky one.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was somehow able to keep that car squared up, as Tom Rathke now falls to fourth in Club Sport Pro after having been running in second. And I think that might have been, Oh, wow. Who was that?
It's one of our midfield motorsports entries.
I don't think that was Husty.
Well,
I think it might have been. I'm fairly certain that was Jenkins that was up there, and Rathke now taken to the pit lane. Get a little chance to recoup and
always a good idea.
Yeah, Edgar Sancinelli on the pit lane as well as is Mike Taylor and John Casey. Here, Larry, is where
once again. Our D2D boys as well as Polici have not pit yet, so we're really going to keep an eye on that gap to where Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke are. Dam and Schwenke are pretty much hooked together. They're about 8/10, 7/10 apart back in 5th and 6th, about 42 seconds behind Palikui Grant. So that's your base mark. Let's look at this. 42 seconds. What is that number when Grant, Polici, Horan, and Thorman all finally come in?
Well, time is running down here. Of course, I say this all the time, Larry, and these pit windows end up running longer than what we tried to gather out of practice. As the driver's now working their 16th lap, and on the MX-5s, we thought the pit window would extend to perhaps lap number 18. So we'll have to see this. I'm hesitant. We're right at the top of the hour. Perhaps should we hang on for another 2 or 3 laps or so before going in, or should we risk fate and go to break now?
I'll tell you what, if they don't come in this time, we'll go straight to break. And we'll take our chances that maybe a 2-minute lap, which is pretty much what they're 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Maybe they can go around and we'll catch the pits the next time around. Let's see what they do here as Brennan Horn and Palikui Grant really hooked together well as your leader in the Pro Club Sport. Eric Violet is in for his stop.
And he moved in with almost, I think, about 30-second advantage over Kevin Ford. So we'll watch here as the two D2D teammates trying to make up as much ground as they can before their pit sequence here, as both Dam and Schwenke rejoined from 17th and 18th overall. Palikui, Grant, and Horn currently running 7th and 8th, so about 10 cars between them. Coming down the pit lane now is Russ Ruddick in his GR86. And Thorman breaks off from that lead pack. He's now going to come down the pit lane. And I would have thought, Larry, that he would have come down with Grant and Horn, but no, he drops in a lap early.
Well, do we want to go to the breaks now, or we think that these guys will come in next lap?
You know, with Thorman going in, I'm starting to wonder, especially since Thorman had not had the draft that these two had been working. Let's stick it out one more lap. I'm not betting.
I love this game.
Yes.
For those of you playing at home, we'll be at about the 39th minute when these guys come around. Let's see if they do make their stop.
Ooh, and a little tap there from Horn coming down into the braking zone. Talk about tempting fate.
They're working well together, though, but I'm looking at that gap behind to Schwenke and Dam now at 43.7, so it's grown about a second. Let's see if that stabilizes. That's not enough to really pull away, but it certainly could be enough if Brennan Horn and teammates Palikui Grant are efficient on their pit stop. That's enough to maybe hold the lead. Probably not enough to pull away. Look at that pushing going on. There's a great view of it. So well coordinated.
All right, and
this can't be good.
Yes.
Unless we're just seeing Chris Thorman coming out just behind our leaders, and unfortunately he's going to be a little further back.
And that was the replay, as Thorman went around on the cold tires, and he's now going to drop off. And Larry, let's, well, we're going to know soon enough.
All right, let's see if 1, 2, or 3 of this train, our front 3.
And I have a feeling, Larry, they're going to drop in.
2 of them are
pits as they entered very shallow, and there you go. All 3 of them come in. Brennan Horn, Eugenio Bellucci, and Palikui Grant all coming down the pit lane. And Larry, that means we got to stick around another minute or so to see where they come out.
It does. Well, we know that Chris Thorman won't be a part of this train, but we could be a 5-car train if this works out well. As you can see, the 2 Orion drivers on that back straight coming up to Parabolica, while in the pits, The bogey time for pit stops for Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke was just over about 11 seconds. These three in the pits now, they're at 16 seconds.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
This is not going to bode well for them. Let's see what happens. Not sure what's going on. This timing hasn't picked them up yet.
All right, Horn now on his way out of the pit stall. Looks like Palucci as well. Oh, and this is not going to bode well for them.
No, that's an amazingly fast stop for the two Orion drivers. And look at the gap that's going to be. It's going to be 4 or 5 seconds by the time this actually. Now those three are going to have to coordinate and catch probably two of the most well-coordinated teammates. I don't want to necessarily say they're the fastest, but they certainly know how to run together for very long periods. Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke now.
Oh, no, it's like Brennan Horn blew the chicane. And going around, I think that's Palakui. Is that Palakui Grant?
Yes, it is.
It is. And it looks like he's got damage to the car there, Larry.
Oh, well, we just saw Thorman the same way, and I wonder if these guys put new tires on, and I wonder if that's the trick there, is Orion didn't, which made the car stable coming out of the pits. These guys, I'm wondering. Oh, no, it was the Palucci in the front. Is that Palucci?
It was Palucci who got hit from behind by Grant, and then Grant ended up getting clouded by one of the GR86s.
Yeah, it's the Mike Taylor then. And look at this, Grant. Just that car has got those tires are looking in two different directions. It's
there you go.
The Marty Feldman front axle.
Walk at the end.
Yeah, with the Marty Feldman alignment, that thing is just looking in two different directions at the same time.
All right, Larry. Let's jump out of our blazing saddles here real quick. Or was that
Young Frankenstein?
Never mind, Young Frankenstein.
Or silent film movie.
Well, let's.
High anxiety.
I was going to make a knockers joke, but I'm not going to. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag as you are watching the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup presented by Performa Elite here on Apex Racing TV, and we'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And we're back here at Monza for round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup presented by Performa Elite. And if you want to find out more about Performa Elite, find them on the web at www.performaetg.com. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, what we thought was shaping up to be maybe a 5-car fight to the checkered flag is now 2 teammates waiting it out to probably the last lap or the last 2 laps to decide who's going to take the checkered flag first.
Yeah, Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke are going to have to coordinate themselves, because my theory is they didn't take tires and everybody else did, which means their tires aren't going to be as strong at the end of this race. They've got to work together to make sure their pace is maintained and they don't run into any kind of traffic. Look at lap times. Their last time through is about a 2:14.2, 2:14.3. Palucci behind them, who I think might have fresh tires. Again, just the theory here, his pit stop was 26 seconds. Did a 2:13.7, about half a second faster than these guys. Right now, he's about 3.5 seconds behind them. That kind of pace, he's got a chance.
He's got a chance to get up there.
Yeah,
No draft.
the next maybe 4 laps. 4 laps is about 9-10 minutes. That's going to give him about 5 minutes to make a move. This could make for an interesting finish. And I think Brennan Horan's only about a second behind Palucci. That's within draft. So those two, if they can connect, can work together easily to catch these Orion cars. And if they're on fresh tires, you can see Palucci and Horan making a push to the front here before this thing's over.
So Larry, tell me this, because I while you were discussing that, I don't know if you noticed who just came off the pit lane.
There's another Orion car right in front of them.
Exactly, and
they found a buddy.
That's right. They found somebody to help pull them along, and that is Rob Hartley.
Yeah. Just whatever you need to throw a lifeline, let's grab a guy with a 10K I rating out in front and drag us around the track. That might be what's happening here.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, it's perfect. If you're looking for a way to not magically, but to hopefully increase or decrease your lap times and get away from Palucci, from Horan.
I don't think that Hartley's car is straight, and I think that's the issue here, is he's not getting a lot of straight line speed. Look how quickly Dan and Schwenke were able to catch him.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, let's see how this goes. If nothing else, if Hartley can't do much to help them, he'll pull aside, but I suspect he'll also pull aside and let the rest of the crowd go by and not give them any draft, as Leo Dragotta has got his way into the pits.
All right, and that's the 118 machine. He pits in from second in Club Sport AM, with Rutledge in the number 40, the 44 machine, still your leader. Yeah, and I think that's what we're seeing right now as Hartley pulls all the way over. Both Dam and Schwenke are going to move ahead. And, so I guess now if Hartley can't keep up with his two teammates, it's going to be work to minimize the amount of draft that the trailing cars, Palucci and Horan, can pull off.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hartley, when those guys even get close, he's just going to pull aside and let them go and not give them a draft. But who knows? He might just give everybody a little draft. It might be Christmas morning there at the Hartley house. He just starts giving them away for free, or maybe he just needed a lap to get up the pace. Exactly. It's like Oprah. Well, it looks like Brennan Horan has caught Palucci, so that's good for Palucci because it gives him a draft buddy, someone to push, someone to help him along. His last time by for Palucci at 2:13.7. Schwenke and Dam, with that little bit of draft they got from Rob Hartley, at 2:13.2. So those guys did pick up the pace for that one lap as they were catching their teammate there. Palucci and Horan, though, these guys are going to have to run some 2:12s right now if they're going to tap into this. Just 13 minutes left. What are we talking about? 6 laps around here?
6 laps, maybe.
Yeah, these guys got to get it going now if they're going to have a shot for a podium. Well, like I say, more than a podium, because they've already, one of the two of them has a chance of that.
One of them will have it, yeah.
Yeah, they won't have a chance to win this thing. They're going to have to really hustle together. As there's traffic now in front of the Orion boys out in front. Yeah, you can see that they just got around one of the cars of traffic just before they got to that chicane. Now they got Sancinelli in one of our GR86s out in front of them. That was Preventus, the 29. It was the last car they got by. Preventus thinks, hey, I'll let Hartley go by. Oh, wait, Hartley's a lap or 2 or 10 down.
Yeah, I was saying Hartley doesn't seem to be able to get by. He's now sucking in right back behind Preventus. So we'll see here.
Hartley's on lap 16, and the leaders are on lap 21.
21, almost 22.
Yeah, just finishing lap 21 here for these guys. But they're liking the draft behind the GR86. That's a big hole in the air that thing will make for you. Perfect timing. Sancinelli moving over just enough time to let the Orion cars have a clean braking point. I bet you right now that Palucci is thinking, hey, I could use some of that back here.
Yeah, but he might have to wait a lap or even 2 laps to get it.
Yeah. Well, Mike Dam's last time by, 2:13.6. Palucci, 13-4, losing about 8/10 on the lap again, getting a little bit of draft at the right time for Mike Dam and for Travis Schwenke. Polici and Brennan Horton not the beneficiaries of any of that lucky draft spot, so luck's not in their favor right now. They're going to have to find it some other way. Although they've got Patrick Preventis in front of them now, maybe this can be their flyer lap to cut into that lead.
Yeah, it's just a question of whether or not Preventis is maybe holding him up there. As you notice coming out of the chicane, Larry Polici had to take evasive action to get around.
Patrick did a good job pulling him into the chicane, but unfortunately, I don't think he was got the clean exit.
Yeah, I was going to say mid corner. Let's take a look here and see. This is Kevin Ford.
Struggling a little bit there. I don't know if he's having a sim rig issue. I'm wondering.
Well, now it looks like he's done as he had been as high as second in in Club Sport Pro.
Started the race in the front row.
Yeah, started off on the outside pole. It looks like he's going to retire.
We have a swap for third place. Brennan Horn has gotten around Polici. This, I'm sure, will go on for the next 10 minutes. As these two, maybe they're trying to work together, or at this point, maybe just gloves off, time to go for third. As Polici now into fourth, Horn up to third. Looks like a decent lap for him, though. I got to say that, or it's just a camera perspective, but if they continue to leapfrog like this, and I think you can get away with it twice, maybe even 3 times on this lap, if you coordinate it well, and that could pick up. You could even see, again into the high 12s if you do it just right. I think 13-0 or 13-1
a little bit on the final chicane here, so let's take a look as they come across the line.
This is gonna be a good lap for Brennan, I think. No, only the 14-0.
Again, they had that 14 flat. Yeah,
that second chicane got held up a little bit, but we know that in qualifying trim on fresh tires, they can run low 13s. With a draft, I suspect you can run low 12s if you time it right, which means the time's out there if you get 2 cars work together to run maybe some mid 12s. We've seen, I think the quickest lap of the race is 13:12.99 for Eugenio Polici. So there are some 12s out there for these guys if they can coordinate it. Oh, look at the bottom of the underside of that MX-5 hitting those sausage curbs in that chicane. You attack them like that, if you can control it, it's fast. It'll be a little less than 9 minutes to go in this, and at 2 minutes 12 a lap. We're talking 4 laps, 5 laps, 4 more maybe beyond the one they're on now. Get us to that lap 28. And this guy just almost makes it look easy and boring. Eric Violette leading the Club Sport Pro class by about 6 seconds over Scott Banks. All right, so for Violet, just kind of in a bit of cruise control mode here, hanging on to that lead again with about 4 laps to go, depending on where the clock strikes, as he is the overall race leader. Out there still running 13.6s. The guy's got pace even 24 laps in.
Yeah, he's still running very consistent laps. His fastest lap, a 13.6. So the fact that he's only running about 2/10 off of it right now.
He's done a 12. He did a 12.8 earlier, but if you're within 8/10 of your fastest lap, 53 minutes into a race, you're doing something right. And for Eric, he's always smooth. He's consistent. He's a great benchmark for anybody who wants to go up against the best. If you're in a race with Eric Violette, you're at least getting the strongest competitor you can find. Makes it look easy, that car. It pops up, pops back down. Ray Lombardi, of course, our leader in the MX-5 AM category, now up to 31 seconds over Chuck Labano. Good solid run there for Ray in that Team Esport Racer. We'd seen this guy earlier. Schwenkler had a pretty good run early in this race. Even led the AM category in club sport for a while, but after that bit of damage there, he's kind of pulled himself back a little bit in a bit of a scrap now with one of the Jagodas. That's Leo in front of him.
Yeah.
It should be, I think, Stephen May behind him.
Yes, that's the Mayforce Racing entry directly behind. So great little fight here. This is the battle for 5th right now in Club Sport AM.
And if that's May behind him, I'm showing on timing that May being an AM. But I think he's got the black mirrors on his car. Could be a paint issue there, but if that's true, that he is an AM, then all 3 of these are fighting for position. This would be your 5th, 6th, 7th battle going on between them, nose to tail, and all 3 of these 86s. He's trying to get there. See how late they can break. That's pretty late. There's that nosedive you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Steve May needs a sponsor. That's what he needs. Needs one of those "your name here" on the side of that car.
Exactly. Rent me.
A little bit of snake going on here as May now says, enough of that. I'm going to make the run. Oh, boy, that's grass.
Yeah.
That didn't work out so
well. Don't want to go that far.
He couldn't see it from where he was at as Sergota went defensive. Popping curbs for Leo as well. Schwenkler trying to avoid the curb popping of Dragota in front of them. That got a little bit spicy as Stephen May says, what's going on up there, guys? He's going to back off just a little bit here, I think, as they come out of that chicane. Let's see if it happens again going through the next chicane. We end up with another side-by-side. Steve May, it's really trying to get visibility as now, again, Dragota goes defensive on the inside. Schwenkler to the outside. Schwenkler trying to get the better run off of it. He might, but there's not a lot to go. Let's see if he gets to the inside before they get to the next 2 Lesmos here. Let's see what it looks like. Through the first Lesmo.
Wow.
It is Schwenkler, barely.
I'm still looking to see if Schwenkler is going to be able to keep that car on the pavement through the first Lesmos, because it is just hunting for grip everywhere.
I think he's hunting a grip, and I'm wondering if he's got a bit of an alignment issue as well in his car, because that's been through the ringer, which means the car's going to turn in even crazier than before. And again, Stephen May popping around to see what he can see. Now on the left side as they're coming up, ooh, watch the move in there for Dragota.
Just those small adjustments by Dragota that would scare the heck out of me, even on a straight line.
It's like there's a cross breeze at Monza today. It's like all these cars have got these phantom twitches going on to them, or everybody's sim rig has got a crazy force feedback happening. And here goes that draft snake again. This time it's Schwenkler. Make it one move to the left. He's going to stick there. See if Dragota has got an opportunity to get the inside. Nope. Just going to show it. Come back in. Even Stephen May says, I'm good back here this time.
Yeah, I'll just wait it out.
There'll be opportunities. 57.5 minutes. Where is our overall leader? He's somewhere in the back part of the course. He might even get a white flag after his next time by, which means these guys probably have 2 more laps to go.
Yeah, and as Violet just ran his fastest lap of the race, wants to get this thing over as quickly as possible. Apparently, just ran a 2:12.5.
He did, and again, he's going to probably see the white flag the next time he comes through. But Dragota now to the outside. It's tough go there on the outside of the opening chicane. He's going to tuck in behind Stephen May. He says, maybe next time, maybe not.
Call me maybe, yeah.
All right,
back to your leaders. Here are our Street Tuner Pro leaders, Mike Dam, Travis Schwenke. And look at this, Larry. You notice something missing?
Yeah, it's a Horn and Polici are a little bit further back, though.
Well, I didn't see Polici as part of that along with Horn. It looks like Horn all by himself. Oh, nope, there it is. There
he is.
You just got to look from behind.
Oh, what you were seeing, actually, that's probably Grant, who's a lap or two down there in the 71.
Right.
Between them, that's how far back Horn and Politi have fallen, is you can't even see him in the shot. They're about 8 seconds back, while Grant actually looks like he's 3 laps down, according to our timing tower.
Yeah, there's Grant right there after, no doubt, getting some repairs.
So our overall leader, Eric Violet, I believe, should have seen the white flag. So all these drivers next time by are going to see it.
Yeah,
now
John,
let's reset. Yeah.
John, can we pick up Violet?
Yep, as he's going through those chicanes. Very likely already has it. Yep.
Yeah, he should have the white flag already, I would think.
Our ST leaders are probably about to get that white flag. Now I'm wondering, does Schwenke stop playing nice and start playing hardball with that teammate Mike Damon? Yes, he does, right on cue, down the inside. Thank you,
pops
Travis.
to the inside. And is that Sancinelli just sitting there kind of he's been watching for the last 10 laps trying to figure out when they would do something. Dam is going to hold off his teammate going into the first chicane.
Yep, Santinelli's got the great spot there to watch this battle. Schwenke, though, may have picked the wrong spot to pull to the side, because Mike Dam just perfectly aced in the hole there through that opening chicane and just nailed it. Schwenke now has to use that draft to get back up, as we're back to the Jagoda and Schwenkler battle, with May saying, I got this, this is all mine, as I believe they just saw the white flag. Schwenkler on the inside. Jagoda's going to try and hold it. There's no room there, but he makes room.
Somehow, some way, does not get into the rear quarter panel and actually comes out about a half a car length ahead.
I know you're not a math expert. With 2 does not going to win in an even way, but I can tell you Eric Violet flashing the lights is going to get himself a victory here at Monza.
There you go, taking the win in Club Sport Pro. It is Eric Violet crossing the line, coming home with second place in Pro is going to be Scotty Banks. Great run for Scotty. And now crossing the line, taking the win in Club Sport AM.
Well, he's got 1 quarter to go, but he's uncontested. Maybe we know it's going to be Rutledge. He's doing an awesome job, 30 seconds ahead of Ruddick and Jenkins. But Dam and Schwenke are nearly side by side on this back straight. This is going to be an absolute drag race around Parabolica to see who wins in ST Pro.
All right, well, let's take a look here as they start to make the run.
Mike Dam is so precise at this stage of the race. It's like he just turns an extra gear. But Schwenke, cutting the short distance, is not going to be enough.
No, he's about a half a car width back, or half a car length back. And as they come to the line, there you go, Mike Dam taking the win in Street Tuner Pro. Travis Schwenke will come home in third, in second, and Brennan Horn in the number 45 machine for D2D. He'll come home third. In AM, Ray Lombardi in the number 84 machine.
Like clockwork. So smooth,
driving for
consistent.
Team Esport Racer. He comes home with the win. 4
wins in 4 rounds for Ray Lombardi. Great job there. But Eric Violet, this guy is just so consistent. Just pulled away, like just Banks. And at the time, Schwenkler tried to chase him, couldn't do it. Rafke couldn't do it. Eric Violet, chalk up another win.
I mean, we're on the cooldown lap and Banks can't do it. He's getting closer, though.
Marty, help him.
All right, Larry, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Thanks to some of our partners and sponsors. And when we come back, we'll run down the final results, and we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here from Monza, where you've just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup. We'll be right back.
Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And we're back here at Monza, where you've just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup presented by Performa Elite. And again, if you want to find out more about our great sponsor, Performa Elite, you can find them on the web at www.proformaetg.com. And let's take a look, John, at those final results here from Monza. If we can put those up on the screen. Taking the win in Street Tuner Pro, those are our Mazda MX-5s. Mike Dam with a margin of victory, 0.2 of a second over his teammate. Travis Schwenke with Brennan Horn coming home in third. Eugenio Palucci and Chris Thorman finishing just off the podium. Let's go over and take a look at the next. We've got Street Tuner AM, Ray Lombardi, Jeff Cranston, and Chuck Labano. Your top 3 races with Patrick Prevenus coming home in 4th. Now let's move over to Club Sport. We're taking the win in Club Sport Pro from Green the Checker, taking the win for D2D E-Racing. Flawless race for Eric Violet. Scotty Banks from Team Volta will come home in 2nd. Tom Rathke takes the bronze from Granite State Racing with Edgar Sancinelli and Nick Parsono finishing 4th and 5th. And finally in Club Sport AM, our AM category for the Toyotas, taking the win. Joey Rutledge from The Wrong Stuff. Russ Ruddick from Flying Tortoise Motorsports finishes 2nd, and Tom Jenkins comes home in 3rd. And so let's do this, Larry, because, well, frankly, he's the only one in the green room right now waiting for us. Let's bring in from Flying Tortoise Motorsports, finishing 2nd tonight in Club Sport AM, it's Russ Ruddick.
All right, Russ Ruddick joining us here for the interview. Russ, a good run tonight, finishing 2nd in the AM category. Tell me a little bit about your race. How'd it go?
It went pretty good. I spent a lot of time practicing for this one because I've had such bad luck, hardware and stuff last few weeks. Of course, then I spun myself in the first chicane, I guess it was. I went off and lost like 4 spots, and then I had to put my head down and try to get back. Of course, my teammate Kevin didn't do so hot tonight, so one of us had to do well.
Yeah, bit of a rough night. I tell you, these GR86s really are. They look like a handful out there at times. Is it just the way the chicanes, the sausage curves? What is it about this car?
The chicanes. I mean, we set ours up a little softer. We tried, others set up, but it seemed like hitting the curbs on the inside really upset the car, which is what happened to me in that first or second chicane.
Yeah, it looked just brutal out there. Those things pop up. Next thing you know, you're up against the barrier somewhere, and hopefully you can continue. And for you, you did. You managed to still bring it up on a podium. It's got to mean quite a bit for you, though.
Yeah, especially after the last few weeks. I've been knocked out of the last 4 races with either a hardware problem or somebody running over me. So I think I was about due for a decent finish.
Well, you definitely got a good one here tonight. 2nd spot in the Club Sport AM. Anybody you want to thank for tonight's podium?
Yeah, my teammate Kevin for all the help he does, and Eric helped a lot during practice. So I appreciate that. It's always great to have other teams helping out.
Well, awesome job tonight.
And of course you guys. You guys do a great job.
Well, I'll wait and let you get that one in, but appreciate the comment there, Ross. Congratulations tonight, 2nd spot in Club Sport AM.
Thanks.
All right, there you go, Russ Ruddick. Now let's move on to Joey Rutledge from The Wrong Stuff, taking the win in Club Sport AM.
All right, Joey Rutledge, almost a bit of a walk away there tonight. Tell me a little bit about how it was for you.
Oh, believe me, it didn't feel like a walk away. In lap 1 or 2, I blew the final chicane, got a pretty serious slowdown, and then fought my way back. Almost didn't take enough fuel. I was fuel saving very hard at the end there, so trust me, it didn't feel like a walk away.
Yeah, well, we were just talking to Russ about the difficulties driving this car. Sometimes can be a little bit hectic. Tell me a little bit about what it's like to drive this thing around Monza.
Oh, this thing's a blast, but man, is it unforgiving. It's very easy to lock up the rear tires into the heavy braking zones, which is all of them here. It's very unforgiving, and if you're running traction control, it does cut quite hard. So this car fights you all the way to the finish.
Yeah, well, you managed to stay fighting back at it and managed to come home victorious here in the Club Sport AM category. Congrats on that. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for the success tonight?
Yeah, well, thanks to you guys for hosting a fantastic broadcast as always. Again, the team, The Wrong Stuff, Rob Schwenkler, who had a tough race tonight. But again, you be safe, WC91 Liveries, Abruzzi, SimMotion, SR4S, Dangerous, Graphics, and yeah, thank you guys.
Well, awesome stuff tonight. Victory, hard fought, even if a lot of it is just the challenge of getting through an hour with this car at this track. The work all pays off for you there, Joey, with the win here in Club Sport AM.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks so much to Joey Rutledge from The Wrong Stuff Racing. Let's now move over to our driver who probably took the win in Street Tuner AM, and that is Ray Lombardi, driver of the number 84 machine for Team Esport Racing.
So Ray Lombardi joining us again. Ray, this is starting to become kind of a weekly thing here for you. As this looks like, I'm checking the scores here, 4 wins in 4 rounds so far. How much preparation are you putting in to get this kind of consistency in the results?
Well, thanks first of all. I to be fair, I had about 30 minutes of practicing this week, but I do a lot of officials during the week, so I do the car a lot. But yeah, it wasn't much of a race either, so it was just a matter of following the guy in front of me and staying alive. So I didn't need much preparation, thankfully, this time. But I'm not going to be this lucky most of the times, I'm sure.
But that staying alive mentality might have paid off. We saw a lot of folks struggling tonight. I don't know if it was just the nature of Monza, the nature of the curbs, even the pits seemed to bite people a little bit. Keeping your cool out there, even when you're, fighting for a lead, even when your lead may be 20, 30 seconds, it seems like there's always somebody around you, some activity, whether it's the GR86 leads coming through, whether it's lap traffic. It seems like there's always something happening in front of you, even when you've got a lead in class.
Yeah. And it felt like basically exactly nothing was happening, because I was literally 0.4 or less seconds away from draft range for about 35 minutes in this race, and I did have quite the how do you call that? Quite the luxury pusher behind me, and a 10K rating guy pushing me half the race, so that was fun. Robert Hardley was kind enough to try to get me into that group, but he couldn't manage. So it was just it felt like a very empty race, but on the other hand, I really have to thank Jordy Fike for crashing everybody behind me, so I didn't have to fight anybody.
We'll pass that along to Jordy for you. That's awesome. Not so much for Jordy.
That's what teammates are for, right?
He's my teammate, so he needed to put on some weight.
Well, he did his job tonight, but maybe next time. Unfortunately, maybe it'll be your turn someday. It's usually how those teams roll. But tonight, though, yep, your job was to take the win here in the STM category. I'm sure you want to thank some folks, maybe especially that one teammate again.
Yes, I would like to thank Jordy Fike, even though I don't think he had anything to do with the incident happening, but that's something for the stewards to decide. But thank you, Jordy, for allowing me to cruise to that win uncontended. And I'd also like to, because I don't know who to thank anymore, I'm going to thank the president of Liberia this week.
Well, awesome.
So thank you, George Weah, for being George Weah.
Awesome stuff. Ray Lombardi taking the victory here at STM, and congrats on that tonight. 4 wins in 4 rounds for you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. Ray Lombardi from Team Esport Racer. Now, Larry, let's bring in our overall winner tonight, taking the win in Club Sport Pro for D2D E-Racing. It's Eric Violette.
All right, Eric Violette joining us here, taking the overall win in the Club Sport Pro. And Eric, this play has proved to be tough in that car especially, but you kind of made it look a little bit easy. Did it feel as easy for you as it looked from the outside?
It was after I got about 2 seconds out. I don't know what happened at the start. I was really expecting us to have like a 10-car pack going there. I'm not sure. I know Bobby got a penalty for moving out. I'm not sure. I've not watched the replay. I haven't talked to him, so I'm not sure if him coming out of line, got people disorganized or something. But yeah, I don't know. Once I got out there about 2 seconds, I was able to get a 10th here and a 10th there. And then once I got about 5-6 seconds, I was like, okay, I can kind of breathe.
Yeah, and this track, that seems like what you needed, because anybody that was in a pack seemed to always be struggling because that draft comes in. And then you got the sausage curbs, and the way this car generally drives, it just looked like a lot. But for you kind of found a groove there, and find yourself out there for a nice Italian countryside drive for a better part of an hour.
Yeah.
It looked like a lot of fun out there. But another win chalked up here for you. Got a couple of them now here on this season. Starting to feel, you feeling pretty comfortable in this thing and the way the season's going? Or you waiting for the next challenge to come over the horizon?
No, I'm getting getting comfortable in the car. Yes, absolutely. But it's, a ton of practice. I'm putting in tons of laps to be able to get around here. When my first couple laps around here, I couldn't even get around. I was spinning every lap. So it's, putting the time in, and it's nice to get the results out of it.
Yeah, that hard work always does pay off, but that's you gotta have the stick-to-itiveness, and you gotta stick with it and get out there and be willing to put that time in. And you've clearly done that, earning yet another victory here in the series. Anybody you want to give a thanks to?
Yeah, of course. Pro Forma Elite for sponsoring us in the league. Extreme Motorsports for putting it on. Ricmotech for being our main sponsor. Making it so we can actually go out there and do that. Apex Racing TV, always like the coverage. Assuming I'm not going to be seen very much, so it'll be interesting to see what happened behind me there. And big shout out to Marlon Jones too. I'm hoping he's feeling better. Couldn't make the race, so hopefully he's feeling better. And then, of course, a shout out to my wonderful wife and family.
All right, well, congratulations again. And yes, definitely watch the replay. It's a lot of interesting things happening in this pack tonight. It was a pretty good one here for you. But from your point of view, nothing but the pointy end of it, and another victory for Eric Violette here in Club Sport Pro. Congratulations.
Thank you again.
All right, thanks so much to Eric Violette from D2D eRacing. And Larry, like clockwork, showing up at the last moment, our two Club Sport Pro podium finishers. Let's go ahead. We'll bring in finishing second tonight in Club Sport Pro in the Mazda MX-5s from Orion Racing, Travis Schwenke.
All right, Travis, from my point of view, watching at least the first 29 minutes of that race might have looked like from the outside the most fun I've ever seen in iRacing. As that pack of about 7, every corner, they were in a different order. Was it as chaotic on the inside as it looked on the out?
It's definitely chaotic, and the chaos changes based on kind of where you are in that queue. So I made a mistake, and I was hoping Chris wouldn't pass because I knew we'd catch back up in a lap, but it took us 2 laps instead just because of the pass, no big deal. But I just kind of lost it in one corner, and the stack up was just totally different. We came down to turn 1, and I was expecting, release here, save fuel here, and here's where I start braking a little harder, and it was like I felt like I came to a stop. And it's only 5 cars, so I can't imagine what it is like, 7, 8 cars back. But yeah, definitely a little chaos. You have to protect a couple times when people get runs, and thankfully people understand, you're not going to do much at that point. So, but yeah, I think we came down the front stretch and it was 4 wide at one point. I was just like, where do I go? So, yeah,
it looked
a lot
like
of fun.
So much fun, and it looked like everybody's front bumpers had a bit of an extra wrinkle tonight. Is that just the Monza nature? Is you pretty much have to use that, either push or be passed?
In some places, yeah, especially when someone decides they're going to go, you either have to make that same decision, or especially if you're going to lose the draft, right? I mean, Eugenio got by me. There were like 2 laps I was worried that we might lose it, so I knew I was going to have to just get aggressive and get by him. But thankfully, he pulled it back together and we were fine. So, but it's one of those things where I'm just trying to make sure I stay in that lead pack. And then as you come on traffic, you kind of have to be careful how far back you are with the traffic coming, because that can separate you sometimes. But luckily, these cars are close enough in speed. It doesn't seem to be as big of a deal.
Oh, it just looked like so much fun. Some of the best racing, as always, here in this series, and you're right there in the mix of it. Another podium finisher there for you, for Travis. And I think we're going to talk to Mike here in a second and kind of get his side on these things. I'm gonna get his view of the last lap with you guys and how that went. But for you, I'll let you get out of here. But congrats on another podium for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go, everybody. Travis Schwenke finishing second tonight in Club Sport Pro. So let's move on now to our winner in that class, Mike Dam from Orion Racing.
All right, Mike, that looked like a whole lot of fun. I just mentioned to Travis that from the outside, I really was wishing I could have been in that train. You were in that mix for the entire thing, from the green when you're on pole all the way to the end of seeing the checker. But that was an absolutely chaotic mess for such a long time. It looked like fun. Was it as much fun for you as it was for us watching?
Yeah, it was. From the start, I wanted to spice it up. Keep the DGD guys on their toes. They were gonna pass me. I wanted to pass them back. So, it was a lot of fun swapping there. A lot of bump drafting into break zones actually sometimes. So it was pretty crazy. But me and Travis made the call. We should pit early because we felt we could work together and lap faster than these guys. So that seemed to work in our favor towards the end of the race.
So we had noticed that you guys made an incredibly short pit stop compared to everybody else. Those guys, the D2D guys, they were running actually pretty quick by themselves. They were getting through any kind of traffic. It was going to be interesting had the pit stops been comparable, but you guys had a much faster stop. Did you guys not take any tires? Did they take tires? Is that part of the strategy here?
We did not take tires. We felt like if we took care of them in the early stage of the race, which we tried to do, easy into break zones and such. We felt like the tires didn't really degrade that much, so it would be, better on the first few laps out of the pits. You wouldn't have to be warming up the tires, and that seemed to work pretty well. So we're pretty happy with that. As for the pit stop time, we just kind of had our number, and we both, kind of timed it and said, okay, we're going in.
Yeah, well, it worked. The whole strategy worked to a T. I guess a little bit of a tip of the hat there to Travis for saying, hey, let's get this done early and get out of this pack and do our own thing, because that may have been the difference maker. As that pack, once they came back, they had their troubles there and their struggles. And but for you guys, it's another 1-2 for the Orion team. You guys continue to do it despite all this pressure coming at you from this really, really strong D2D team these days. But another victory. I'm sure you got some folks who want to thank. You guys got a pretty big team there doing a lot of good work.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all the guys at Orion. They put in, Travis puts in a lot of work. It's just, we try to have success. We mostly just try to have fun. So it's always a blast just racing with these guys. It's really competitive, and that's what it's all about. So just thanks to you guys for broadcasting. You help make it what it is. Thanks to just Kevin and Jeff for putting it on, and Frank at Ricmotech.
All right, well, congrats again, Mike Dam. Another victory here, and a hard-fought one with the teammates as well as the D2D team. That was a ton of fun to watch, and I can't wait to see the series queue up again in a couple of weeks. So congrats for the win there, Mike Dam.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, thanks so much to Mike Dam from Orion Racing taking the win tonight in Club Sport Pro. All right, probably not Club Sport Pro, to Street Tuner Pro. All right, so Larry, let's get ready to wrap things up here. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up on the schedule over the next couple of weeks. Next week, that is Monday night, June 12th, the Ricmotech World Challenge returns, and it's going to be round number 3, and we're going to be at fairly new to the iRacing platform, Circuit Jerez. They're in the south of Spain for a 90-minute feature race, and one of our, I believe, 2 90-minute races over the course of the season. Should be a great time for our GTP prototype cars and GT3 cars as well. And we'll have to see if those Cadillacs make an appearance next week, because I think they're coming into the iRacing platform tomorrow night, as a matter of fact. All right, and then in 2 weeks, the Touring Car Cup returns. It's going to be round number 5. We're going to be in Alton Park. Going to head over to the UK for a 60-minute race. And then, of course, remember to join us come August when the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, where we've got featured the GT4 and TCR cars, when it returns. It's going to be August 23rd. Don't have the venue yet, but we will let you know as soon as we do. That is going to be a 60-minute race to the checker. Again, that's August 23rd. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for John Robertson doing all the great things behind the scenes, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night from our breath.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.